This is Ryan and Michelle, and welcome to the Celebrate MarriageCast 5-Minute Friday.
Happy Friday. Happy Friday, Ryan.
Happy Friday, Michelle.
So glad that you're joining us today. And we have a special guest back, friend of the Celebrate MarriageCast. He is a counselor at Sioux Empire Christian Counseling. We have Tony Bohr back on our show. Welcome back, Tony.
Hey, happy Friday, you guys.
Yeah.
Welcome back, Tony. So on Tuesday, we gave really a foundational episode for newlyweds.
Yeah.
How to build a strong marriage from the beginning.
Let's start our marriage off right and good, right from the beginning.
Absolutely. So this Friday, we have some action items for you newlyweds.
Yeah, if you're engaged, if you're getting married this summer, even if you're, even if you are newly married, you could still do this.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
if you're newlywed, newly married, engaged, here's your homework assignment, is go talk to your parents and ask them, what was the biggest fight you guys ever had as a married couple?
Whoa.
See what they say. Almost always, it's going to be within the first 5 years of their marriage because they're doing all these things that we talked about in the Tuesday episode. Go listen if you haven't already. Is all those things, they're learning how to do that and do those things. And so they're laying that groundwork. So they're having some pretty big fights. And go back and ask them what that is. There's enough time that's passed, so hopefully they can talk to you and explain. They'll probably tell you with some laughs and some chuckles of what dad did or mom did or some of those things. But I think it's really important, one, to hear that because you get to see that those problems get solved. Because a lot of times, couples, when you're newlyweds and you're going to have some of these arguments or these discussions the very first time, and if you're coming from a healthy family and you look at your parents, you're like, man, my parents don't fight that much and we're fighting all the time. Oh, your parents fought quite a bit. You just weren't around, right? You weren't around. Think about, when did you guys start to think about what kind of marriage your parents had? How old were you?
Probably married.
Yeah, either
Yeah.
married
Yeah.
or just started dating, right?
Yeah.
It's like
Right.
when you're, 0 to 14, 15, you're not thinking about, hey, I wonder what kind of marriage my parents have and how they're communicating. All of a sudden, when you start dating somebody, it's okay. Or when it starts to get serious or when you first get married, that's when you're thinking about that. Well, at that point, your parents probably have been married 20 years.
Sure.
So hopefully they're pretty good at communicating and doing that. And so it's just a fun thing for newlyweds or engaged couples is go back, ask your parents what that was like so you can get a little bit of a perspective and hopefully tell you, yeah, we had some fights and talked about some stuff, but they worked through it and they solved it. If you've been married a long time, same homework assignment. Go ask your spouse, go sit down and talk. Hey, what was our biggest fight when we first got married? Do you remember what that was like? Same thing. Hopefully it's far enough out that you can reminisce and have a little fun and enjoy that. But just talk about what were some of those first tasks and things that you guys had to solve as a couple?
Yeah, that's really good. Ryan, do you remember any of our big fights in the beginning?
I don't.
I don't either. Maybe God's just blessed us with a
all
memory
right.
to forget that. Live and let live.
All
Let's
right.
move on.
There we go.
That's great that neither of us are carrying things around. Hey.
Yeah. All right, I'm going to have to think on this.
And we will think of that.
So
We'll
you
do
guys
that
think on
over
that
the
and do
weekend.
that, and
Okay.
there's those fights, and you'll just recognize as oh yeah, we were still learning how to communicate, how to do that.
Yeah. I feel like we had disagreements about how we communicated, and we've shared that. We shared that the sermon we did where Ryan was not communicating as responsibly as I wanted to and in a timely fashion like I wanted. And so I would get upset about that. So I remember that being a thing Ryan, just say something. And you would say, you don't want me to say anything right now.
Right.
And I realized, really it was just finding out our communication styles. He was doing that because he didn't want to react. He wanted to be able to respond in a mature manner and not just, be out of anger. He really was exercising the fruits of the Spirit in that. And we found a good compromise in that where you kind of will communicate a little now and I'll give you a little more time and we'll communicate later. But we've kind of, we had to figure that out.
Progress.
So, were we fighting about fighting?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
That counts.
All right. Tony, recap the assignment one more time for our listeners.
Newlyweds, go ask your parents what their biggest fight was like. When did that happen? And what did they learn? And if you're married, go ask your spouse the same thing.
We're excited for you to do that assignment this weekend. And thank you for joining us on this 5-Minute Friday. You can find more marriage resources at celebrate.church/marriage. Additionally, if you don't have a church home, we would love to have you. If you're in the Sioux Falls area, you can find our location and service times at celebrate.church, or you can watch online there, celebrate.church. They'll have a link to our live stream service. Additionally, you can find us on Instagram at Celebrate MarriageCast. Have a great weekend.
Have a great weekend.